I guess we can kind of just put this in with this conversation because I think we touched on this for a minute last week, but I'm really intrigued with this Murad guy, the long haired, like kind of Uber geek that looks like he would be out of like, I don't know, some kind of geekdom type movie. That
Yeah.
is a good follow on Twitter, and I know I sent you some of his stuff, and I think he is nailing it on the head. I mean, I think he's not necessarily with like the memes that he's saying to buy. I mean, I'm not as interested in that. But I think he's hitting the nail on the head. This is something that Sami has been talking about for a while, is the whole people are getting hip to the VC-backed layer one, whatever the project is. But either way, a VC-backed seed rounds, we're all going to dump on your head later, billions and billions in dollars of market cap. You stand no chance to make any gains, all that stuff. People are done with it. Now it's like, where can I get a lottery ticket or get in with what you just said, one of these cult-like communities that we are seeing perform? Like that, yes, there's plenty of rugs out there. Just go on Solana any given day. But I mean, there are sticky memes that are doing really well, have done really well, new ones that are popping up that are doing well and figure to do well as you get into the bull market. Like, people want to get involved with smaller market caps that have a good sticky community. And it's we're at the point where like memes have been validated. It's not like a thing anymore. Like, oh, you're going to go in there and buy that Pika coin or whatever. It's like, do you know what this thing has done? Do you know what this thing is capable of doing? People like to represent their interests on the blockchain. Like in their, it's their monetary votes for that. Like, this is something I'm interested in. This is my way of representing that. Sacrificing for it, if you will, whatever you want to call it, buying something to represent my interests and what I believe in on the blockchain. And people are doing it and there's no stopping it. So why fight it? And that's what Murad's been talking about, is just that's what people want to do. And that's what's happening right now. Now, what I don't really get with him is why his top 10 list of like best memes to invest in this cycle are all pretty damn bloated. Like, they're all already hundreds of millions of dollars in
Well, I'll tell you
market
why
cap.
when you're done.
Well, my final point was just that. Now, his thesis is like, oh, they're going to go to billions and stuff, and they're all still going to do 100x. That's fine, but I Pulse Chain, we know all these great memes that are on a very small, blockchain that hasn't broken out yet. If you want to go play with Ethereum, Solana, bloated coins, that's fine, but I don't feel as safe doing that. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, the reason is, and I've found out recently that he gets allotted a major portion of these tokens too. So that's why he talks about them. So you do have to be careful of that. They do give influencers a large sum, whether there's a VC or not. These guys are getting a large sum of tokens, and they will dump them on your head. So it's like when BitBoy goes, the 10 best cryptos to invest in, or the 5 best tokens, every time there's one of those. And this guy is no different. It's because somebody has paid him a large allocation to talk about them. And he will do a slow dump on your head. I saw somebody in the chat say something very similar. Yeah, Liberty.
We both clicked it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so instead of a slow, steady VC dump, you buy a VC insider meme coin that's a quick pump and dump on your head, and that's what a lot of these turn out to be. He nailed it on the head. So, again, I think it goes back to community. I think when you have a large number of community all talking the same thing, they're not all going to do the same thing, right? I mean, they're not all communicating on, it's too hard to coordinate a pump and dump like that. But when you have one individual, like, what's his name, Murad or whatever, one individual like that can have a lot of influence over things, and they're his, right? He can do with them what he wants, and he can do it at will. But when you follow a community into a situation or a coin, something like that, it's a lot harder to herd cats than it is one person. So Yeah, I just, be again, it's one of those things to be very cautious of. Now, he does bring up a good point. People do want that lottery ticket, the dopamine hit of finding something that's going to run like crazy very quickly. But again, you got to be leery of those type of people where they are in it just to pump and dump, and they got paid to talk about it. So
It is
again,
interesting to
be
me.
cautious.
Yeah, and it is interesting to me that Pulse Chain isn't on his radar because it's like here's an entire ecosystem bootstrapped from the ground up in the complete inverted way of all these things that you supposedly hate. You know what
Well,
I mean? So why
it
aren't
made me
you?
think why he's not is because we're not paying him. Nobody from Pulse
Yeah,
Chain is giving people money to talk about things. We will do it ourselves, right? That's kind of the mentality, and that's why a lot of people gatekeep us. Richard was never willing to give a bunch of allocation for an exchange. He was never going to pay people to have him on his show. He was never going to do that. And I feel that the community has kind of responded the same way. Is we're they did. I know they did to get on, what was it, OKX? I think there was a allocation that was put together by many people to
wasn't
get
that? I think
listed,
that was Mech C. I don't know
or
Mech C
MEXC.
or
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
MEXC.
yeah,
But it is what it is, and um, I think that's one of the reasons why we don't get talked about is because we don't pay people.
yeah.
We're not going to give them allocations to talk about us. We're gonna market it, and we're gonna do it ourselves, and that's just how it goes.